On the 7th of January 2026, millions of fans stared at their screens begging for a secret 9th episode, Conformity Gate, a concocted theory that the series finale was simply a Vecna-induced hallucination. And we were all counting down Vecna's clock chimes until January 7th finally arrived. And nothing. Not a single gate to the Upside Down in sight. This begs the question, are we stuck in the past or missing true closure? This video is going to answer that question and understand exactly why we struggle with closure and why sometimes we might just need to move on. After a devastating disappointment to fans across the world, Denial had its hooks in deep. And if you're not moving on from that breakup, you might also be stuck in the Upside Down. This wasn't about mourning a secret 9th episode, but more so a severe struggle to say goodbye to one of the most beloved shows in the world. Fans kept the flames burning for the 9th episode to retain the excitement Stranger Things brought. You just can't let it go, the same way you can't move on from that breakup. And I've been there. But yearning for something that's been and gone, it's backwards thinking. Hopeful, yes, but your future doesn't really care about your hope. Attachment is good when it promotes your progress, but it is detrimental when it crushes your growth. And the minute something of more immediate value grabs your attention, we're on it like ants on, well, you know what. Now the problem is, this cycle can continue. Something you love ends, you find something else to latch onto, that ends, and you find yourself burning out and just stuck. And eventually you'll stop enjoying shows like Stranger Things and may even become resentful. Now this is where you really feel the impact. We thrive on being in control of our lives. If you throw that sense of control out the window, you end up with panic, stress, and burnout. Suddenly, you feel you have no true control over anything, and that's just it. You don't. Now, processing a failure is normal, but if you can't move on, this is where instead of taking off and soaring, you stall. If you're up at 3 a.m. scrolling for constant bad news or looking at your ex's profile, recognize the sensation for what it was. Then let it breathe. Closure becomes much harder otherwise. At this stage, Netflix didn't even need to say anything. When fans were losing hope, all it took was one fan account to post any Stranger Things material, and the cycle repeated and repeated, and we still got nothing. So long as somebody else believes, you're safe. But when silence hits your feed, that safety implodes. This mass belief can bring communities together, can even forge new friendships and spark creativity. But you know deep down it's really over and it's never gonna come back. But is that really so bad? To add more perspective to this example, I have this experience all the time. In fact, I thoroughly enjoy swimming 4 times a week, and I'm constantly comparing my stats to the previous session I had. Yes, that's very normal, but it's also counterproductive. Just like life, there are ups and downs, and they can also creep into my swims. If I constantly obsessed over the fact that I was 5 seconds slower than my last session, I would never enjoy swimming. I'd begin resenting it, and that's not good. This is exactly the sort of closure that people are really missing. We need a chapter to close with intent. The story or experience must end with a purpose. Closure is not a luxury, it's a need. This 9th episode wasn't a trolled reaction to a very divisive finale. It was a human one. And yes, it's perfectly normal to miss a show this much. And sometimes you just need to let things breathe for what they were, not what you wanted them to be. That's where you unlock the path to growth, not stagnation. So if you believe you're experiencing this sensation right now, just know that it's not about closing the book, but rather starting a new chapter. It's time for you to start something fresh. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Did you actually believe that there was a secret 9th episode for Stranger Things? I'm definitely guilty of hitting the refresh button on my feed myself, but I want to know exactly how many of us are guilty of that. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Your attention means the absolute world to me. I'll see you in the next one, and maybe we'll dissect how many of you actually believed in the theory.